Welcome to the 29er European Championship here in Denmark. The Royal Danish Yacht Club are honored to have been selected to arrange the event this year, 2022. My name is Claus Lattefuget. I'm the event director, and I'm going to take you through some of the topics that you need to be worried about, or at least pay attention to when you're arranging such a big event. The two topics that we're going to cover is the volunteer situation, but it's also the whole financial situation of arranging such a big event here. At the end, we will try to list some of the key learnings that we have obtained throughout the event. Before we start, let me tell you a little bit about the Royal Danish Yacht Club. We are Denmark's largest yacht club with 3 locations. The one we are at here in Rungsted, and we also have location a little bit south of here, Skovshoved, and our main office is in the Tuborg Harbor, downtown Copenhagen. Let's start with the first area that we have identified as an area for success with such a big event. Volunteers. We have recruited about 90 volunteers to help out with this event. We need people both on the water and we need people ashore to help out with all the different tasks. When managing a group of people over 90, it's a gigantic puzzle. There will be people who might get sick, there will be people who miss their appointments, there will be people who are not able to show up after all. So we do quite a lot to secure that we have the right people for the right positions, and thereby working with a little extra or some spare people that can step in case others are not able to show up. A little bit of a controversial issue is of course using parents as volunteers on the water. We are trying to make sure that parents are not positioned on the water on, you can call it critical positions. The way you organize such a big event is really like a company. People have different functions and have different roles. And if you look at the entire event, there's a lot of activities going on that we have separated into units by themselves. If you look at the opening ceremony, for instance, we have a group of people in charge of that. If you look at the measurement team, we have people there. The way we've managed communication within such a large team is, you can say, fairly traditional in the way we have informed people about the event by mail, by personal phone calls prior to the event. But during the event, we're also going to have some team meetings, typically, of course, in the morning before the races start, but also at the end of the day to make sure that we're ready for the following day. The way we try to motivate the volunteers is definitely by involving them as much as possible in the decisions. We want to empower them, to give them the opportunity to make their own decisions along the way, so that they don't feel as just being exploited by the event, but they actually feel as being part of the event. Perhaps contrary to some other countries, the tradition in Scandinavia is that we do not pay our volunteers. They show up and they are part of the event, and we are very grateful for that, of course. And it actually also helps to create a team spirit within the volunteers, that you're not paid in any way. You might be rewarded in different ways. We might hand out t-shirts or polos or small gifts, but there's no money between the volunteers and the event. The second area that we have identified as a key parameter for success is the financial part of arranging such a big event. One of the key things to focus at regarding the financials of such a big event is really to make sure that there is a certain buffer in the budget, because there will inevitably be additional costs that you need to concern yourself about along the way. One of the largest uncertainties with respect to the financials of such an event is really the number of participating sailors. Of course, we do a lot to secure sponsorships along the way, which helps to secure the financials. But since we don't know until very late and just before the event how many sailors will participate, we don't really know how much money we have available that we can spend on the event just before it starts. Another one of our concerns with respect to the financial situation is of course when and how to book the large activities that is going to take place. If you need a large tent to accommodate the different parts of the event, when do you book that? When do you commit to a certain size? And how do you secure that it will not end up being a too big tent or a too small tent for that matter? So the whole planning part of going for the big events, of deciding when to book the big activities, is a very important part of managing the budget. There's a lot of expectations to such a big event, and of course, as an organizing authority, we want to give the sailors the best experience possible, but we of course need to look at the financial situation as well. And we try to make sure that the sailors are in focus and not the event itself. We want to leave the sailors with a feeling that this has been possibly the best 29er European Championship that they've ever participated in. Talking a bit about the security margin or the buffer that you put into your budget, that is of course a very individual decision to take. You need to look at the club. Can the club help you out? Should we end up lacking money? Or how does the sponsor situation look like? Are you sure to get some support from different sponsors? But I would say that it's always possible to take a fairly conservative approach to this and make sure that the buffer amount, so to speak, is it's large enough to cover some of the main expenses that you might have in relation to this event. One of the decisions we've taken in relationship to arranging big events like this is that we don't want to lose money. The club, Royal Danish Yacht Club, do not want to lose money arranging these events. So we want to make sure that there's a little bit of money left over. If Royal Danish Yacht Club has the ability to arrange this, we should also do it without expecting to gain a whole lot of money, but just making a little bit on the side to cover for the gear that are used, the ribs that are used, expenses that we incur, wear and tear on equipment and building and so forth. Very early in the planning process of this event, we decided that sustainability should be a large part of this event. We wanted to send the signals to the young sailors that sustainability is a very important part of their life. We teamed up with an organization called Sailors for the Sea, who have a lot of demands for how do you make a sustainable event like this. And we are trying to live up to all of these demands, which both relates to the food you eat, to the waste, how you handle the waste, to, there's over 20 demands for what you need to live up to. It's also a decision from the Royal Danish Yacht Club that we wanted to going forward really make sustainable events to show to the environment, to show to people, to show to Denmark that we consider sustainability a very important part of being a sports club, a sailing club like we are. It has now been 5 days since the 29er Europeans in Rungsted ended, and we have spent some time looking at some of the key learnings which we would like to share with you. I would probably say the main key learning is really to secure that you have enough volunteers and that you have volunteers at sort of the middle manager level, where you can delegate different functions during such a big event to a number of people who are then in charge of these events. So you as an event director do not have to be in charge of everything. Another key learning we saw as very important is to always have a number of extra volunteers to help out in such an event. Maybe 5%, 10 people or something, because there will always be people who get sick or who are not able to attend after all. Another important learning we have seen is to really look at the different suppliers that are providing different services to the event.
Myself, not being a professional event manager, do not know what to expect from certain suppliers. So it's always good to check that are they going to deliver what they promised, and is it really true, and how does it look, and how does it work. So checking the suppliers is an important part as well. As you can imagine, the preparation for such a big event is huge, and especially the days leading up to the start of the event are extremely busy. So I really encourage you to prepare as much as you can in advance. Get everything organized, because there will always be unforeseen activities popping up that you need to attend to. And if you need to attend to those along with the planned activities, then you simply get too busy. As we discussed prior to the event, the finances are really important. And I really encourage you to make sure that you set aside a buffer amount of money in the budget to unforeseen activities or expenses. They will always pop up, no matter how well you have planned the event. So I can only confirm what I said prior to the event. Make sure that you have a buffer in your budget to handle unforeseen activities. We are now done with the Volvo 29er Europeans here in Rungsted in Denmark. And I just want to thank all the volunteers, first of all, the class representatives, the sailors, of course, and all the support team that they brought along. I thought we had a great event, and I hope we will see you all in Rungsted at some other occasions. We do run Euro Cups every year, so if you want to come back, please join one of our Euro Cups. And should you have any questions to this video, feel free to contact us at the Royal Danish Yacht Club, of course. Thank you very much.